more than that. I don't wonder what they're doing. I wonder, are they doing it because they're out of a commitment, a voluntary thing, or are they on a payroll? I'm just saying. I mean, why would you jump up and just do something that is out of your tool house? You're not even in your toolkit. They don't know that. The ones that are really involved, they're not doing contract themselves. They got the kind of gigs where they're supposed to be the intersection somehow on behalf of the community. Well, who's the one that's the interceptor on when you go to these jobs where you don't see enough minority on the job? Who's the one that's supposed to be reporting out? They tell me Larry Stitt. I don't know. I haven't heard Larry Stitt speak on this. And if he is, he too need to be talking loud. Anyway, y'all can tell I'm a little upset. I'm upset because $400 million ain't no loaf of cheese. That's something that can make a difference to this community. And those who are working, trying to make this connection for us, should be talking to us and should be, look, I'm not getting paid to do this, but I know when injustice is going down. And injustice is the absence of information. And we're in this moment where we say, see something, say something. Well, I'm saying it because I see it. And I know a lot of you listen to me, see it too and know it. But we don't need to put up with this stuff. If you, anybody, I'm Reverend Blue, Larry Stitt, you know, I'm just saying, I'm not mad that you got some kind of link, but I am disappointed that your voices haven't been talking to the community clearly and sooner to let us know what's going on. And if you got a real link, why didn't you know something about what I'm hearing, that the RFP put in by a group of contractors was changed up on them without them knowing about it, and they didn't get direct word. They had to get it from out of town. So what kind of intercession you do? And if you're the one that's supposed to be getting this job, I think you need to be given a report until we get this thing done. It's like y'all hiding in the dark. What's that about? Or are you looking to select certain ones? I'm just saying, let's keep it real. This is an act of injustice with what you're doing, that you haven't come to talk to this community. I take it personally, you know, but not that personal, because I think I'm nice to invite anyone to these airwaves. But the fact that you don't have enough respect to use the number one station that brings the drum beat in the community and come and take an opportunity and sit at the table with, there have been others who here have been saying the things I want. Where you at? And what you doing? Anyway, y'all, community, I'm just saying I'm upset. This meeting on the 5th of October is a real important meeting. And we needed to be there. It's the new Bill Stadium and MWBE and whatever SDVOB inclusion means. I'm not sure on this, I won't guess. And it says, an Erie County Legislature formal committee discussion. It's going to be on Thursday, October 5th, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Old County Hall, 92 Franklin, on the 4th floor. Now, it's only going to be 1 hour. So you can't get up at 8:45 and think you're going to get there in time. You need to be there before the meeting starts so you can check it out, how things get set up, who whispering and who here before they get in the room, and who walking around the room like they big shot. And you need to be there to watch those who come from our community that supposedly been working in our best interest on this, to hear what they're going to say there that they ain't said here. Shame on them. Yeah, y'all go tell them Jim Anderson talking about them. Yes, I am. And let me throw something else in the pot, because I'm a little, I don't get it. I'm trying to understand. So, New York, the Buffalo, New York City Council and them, everybody holler, we don't have no skin in the game. They can't got nothing with determining anything about the stadium. And so what do I see popping up? I see where Councilman Wyatt, Rashid Wyatt, was going to be holding a community, either held it or was going to be holding a community meeting, and in it talking about jobs at the stadium. Now I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, he's not working that out, and besides, like he said, they ain't got no skin in the game unless all of a sudden they got it. But anyway, so I'm trying to understand what is he doing to be able to be talking about the jobs. And to me, y'all, I'm just saying we all should get it at the same time. I trust that, I want to trust that our electeds in both of the houses, the county and the city, are working together, and I know they are. But I don't see a united front in bringing us the information timely on things we need to know. I haven't heard a flurry of people talking about October 5th. I haven't even heard our representatives talk about the fact that the contractors got set up and got their RFP. You heard them talk about it on this station, on this program. The RFP that they submitted, well done in collaboration with the contractors that are working together to try and move the needle. They changed it on them. Now we claim we care about getting out. This is all of our fight. You don't have to be a contractor to understand that this is your fight too. This is part of being able to get access to that money that could do a lot to help a lot of people in our community and help our community, period. And we shouldn't be shucking and jiving and letting those who give us a song and a dance and act like they super on things, they super devoid on doing what's right. I should not be the only one shouting about it. I should be able to at any time hear out of our community, those who call themselves leading, and particularly on this issue, I should be hearing something every day where they keeping the pressure on. But they're in the dark. Yeah, I say they're in the dark. They ain't build nothing. Be the first one to run all the time to get to the head of the line when money's coming in the community. And then we got to stop just picking some of them to be on these commissions or these boards to hear stuff. Because they hear stuff and they don't tell nobody. And the stuff that they hear that they ought to tell, they keep it to themselves. That's why I wonder sometimes, is somebody on payroll? I know I'm doing this voluntary. I know the station ain't asking us to get no money from nobody on this. And yet we know the bills and anybody associated with the stadium. I should be hearing tons of commercials, and I don't mean a little bitty one. I think you ought to be in here buying strong and putting in that paper. Where y'all at? And then, help us to understand, because I ran into some people say, well, they're getting paid. Now, I don't know you're getting paid. I hope you're not getting paid. All right? If you're getting paid and ain't saying nothing about the work you're doing, I sound like hush money. I hope you ain't doing that. And I hope ain't nobody taking money to lead the community astray. I am so upset today because I know there's a group of contractors. In fact, one of the contractors organizing around this has deep credentials and a work ethic and a structure. And then these who ain't got nothing want to be on the lead talking about the jobs. Remember Lee? Larry Stitt. I know those are two of the names, and I know those are two of the names I heard people say it in, and I've seen blurbs up from them, but I ain't heard them talk nowhere. I don't know who they talk to and why it's in the dark. That's what I'm gonna call it, in the dark and not out front. So I see something, so I'm saying something. You know what else? I'm gonna be doing something too. Because we're in that moment, community. We got to be doing something. We got to stop this. I know some of y'all know about poverty pimping. I know some of y'all know about those who supposed to serve and misserve or don't serve. We can't let this go down. Now I'm gonna let that part rest. I done told you October 5th from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Be there before 9. They're holding community conversation. It's interesting. Community conversation. Community, that's for you. Were you in on the planning? But even if you wasn't in on the planning, it's for you. Now you need to find a way to participate, and if you can't participate, do me a favor. Call some of those who call themselves working on the stadium deal and tell them, hey, why don't you go and get on the air and talk to us all? Come. Let's have a real community discussion and conversation right here using the airwaves of Power 96.5 WUFO. I mean, look, why we can why you think we can't? We can. And then we would have access for the community to call in and look. Don't get me wrong. We don't want to answer questions. There ain't no such thing about answering questions, but it is about telling them what are you doing. Ain't seen you nowhere. Ain't heard you nowhere. So if you want to get mad at me. If you want to know who told me, ain't nobody told me. I do my own research and I got my ways of finding out. And then I know y'all. So I'm look. Here's the deal, community. Sometimes me or somebody else may something a little strong about people who you might like. This is not about liking. And I don't dislike them, but I'm telling you the truth because ain't none of us perfect. And when in our imperfection, when we're on the wrong side of an issue, somebody need to call it out, not to hurt them, but to call them forward to where they need to be. These characters I'm talking about are those who got information, been doing things in the dark, and here we getting down to these days when there's already parts of the contracts, part of the work out there that's going on, an opportunity that's moving. They don't even come forth to say, hey, to tell you so you can get a chance to get in on it. So what kind of intersector are you? Are you for the community or do you somehow work for some connection? Anyway, I'm just saying, want to get mad at Jim Anderson. Anywhere you see me, you can talk to me. I'm a nice guy. And if you want to start talking, you can call 716-837-1112. Now, I'm going to say a little bit more, and then I'm going to share because Austin is going to take us in a unique way, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want to tell you, a lot of things that you hear happening in the news, big things that you don't like to talk about, is this concern about climate change and clean energy. And what I want you to know is that these things, these things are real, y'all. And the work that you see with the community in the community where folks not only are doing gardening, but you got an organization who is starting to be, I like to call them almost like food hospitals that you in the community can go to because that too is in line with climate change. And so, those things we need to have happening and must happen because we got a country in a state that's going the wrong way. See, the things we need for a clean, renewable energy kinds of living in our community and in this state is not happening fast enough and not happening in some parts. And when you hear about the conversation on the international level about the possibility of nuclear war, here's what goes down. So you hear about it and you tend to think those things are over your head. And then when you look back when we had the hearings here in New York about climate, what was going to be and so forth, and the panel that had set up by the state that was moving around the state holding hearings, held the one here at the library. In there, All the climate activists went in, pushing for the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, CLCPA, which is a good thing, and we need that. But we need that also along with, here's what I want to tell you what we need. We need to push back against the gas companies. Because when the gas companies came into the hearing, you know what they came in? They didn't come in attacking none of the Climate Leadership Community Protection Act. They didn't make that their target anymore. They came in asking for the state to invest a lot more money into nuclear energy. Listen, y'all, don't be silly. Nuclear energy is not clean, renewable energy, and nuclear waste itself doesn't go away. When I say doesn't go away, yeah, maybe over some thousand years, I don't know. They have no idea. And in some places around the world, some countries are dumping nuclear waste into the water. Now, dumping is bad in and of itself, but what I want you to understand, climate activists, peace activists, people, is that nuclear energy is not clean, renewable energy. And we better watch these gas companies when they ask for more investment in that, because it requires a lot more money coming out of the people's pot, which when it comes time for serving the needs of the human needs, and you have your leaders talking about, well, we don't have no money because they don't skate it to all these big, greedy corporate oil companies who would love to see nuclear energy be around, because then they can dig up some more ground and contaminate some more land and begin to bring the world into a more threatening situation with all this dirty energy. Anyway, you got that. You're going to hear more about that later on. But let me just say it's good to be here. And I know we're going to be getting ready to go to a break. And but what's going to happen on that coming up after that break, and even prior before we get there, is Austin is I know he's going to be rolling out some stuff he want to. I'm looking forward to what he does. I may leave the room and let him, and so you saw it. So I don't want to be a distraction. I don't want you like, oh, look, I don't want to be looking cross-eyed. But I never look cross-eyed at him, because I'm telling you, the wisdom that comes with our young generation it is so beautiful to just look at. When you're in the presence and you hear the different levels, they go, look, you got to remember they're young. They're gonna try something, but when they hit that, it's like that beat, hit that beat. You know what I mean. It's groovy. It's right where we want our young folks to be, and it's also energizing, because they ain't gonna be taking no wooden nickels. And as we set the value line about, hey, look, you see something, you say something, you stand on the truth that you don't have to beat nobody down with it, but you don't have to let nobody come in shucking and jiving. Hey, look, I'm talking about Austin and many more like him that exist in our community. And I'm telling you, last week, we had a good show, and I was thinking, uh, uh, I've been thinking about it all week. I said, what if I don't see Austin here this week? Because last week we were talking about housing and how to deal with the landlord and stuff, and I was teasing you because he at home, and the landlord was here, mama was here, and I kept saying to myself, I teased him, I said, I said, because we're telling you tenants, what your rights are. We were telling landlords theirs too, but we were telling you tenants, and that you can talk to a landlord, and and so we had the landlord here. Your mama, how all of us been through that at home. But I was teaching, when you get home, you tell that landlord So anyway, you feel my job. I've been a little funny, y'all, because they keep it. Go ahead, bro.
Absolutely. Good morning, Buffalo. My bad, I was a little late. I was on a business call. Yeah, I was on a little business call, getting my stuff in order. And one thing I want to touch on before I kind of get into my little segment and my little response is kind of touching on what you were talking about. I was driving down Best Street by Genesee, and I saw a billboard on a bus stop, and it said, more than half of Buffalonians live next to or are exposed to a nuclear waste site in their residential housing. So when you talk about climate change, the issue, and I'm going to talk a little more about, is it's hard to help certain people. But Buffalo waste is something that even if you don't think it's important, climate change, you don't think it's important, it's one of those things that doesn't matter until it does. And chances are, unless you're a gambling person, if you're one of that 50%, chances are it's something that's impacting you, whether it's a little bit or a lot. I don't think anybody wants any nuclear waste being exposed or in their access or vicinity. So just be aware. I think it's really easy sometimes to distance things, and that's reality because of the world we live in. Now every news is your news, so you got to learn how to kind of filter it in your mind, but don't become so filtered that you're filtering out the important stuff. That's not a good calendar or a good sit, whatever you want to call it, when it's dropping the important stuff out. So one thing that you kind of talked about that I think is very true is that it's hard to help. This week I had something I'm on LinkedIn. You guys can add me at Austin Martin on LinkedIn. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of just complaining about the issues. I want to go out into the community, meet the professionals that are making the changes we need to make. Let me talk to, as much as we can talk about business people in Buffalo, how people buy it. Let me talk to the people that we are so quick to harp on, the politicians, the business leaders. So I went on LinkedIn and said, let me go straight to the people. And I said, if you want to get known in the community, if you want a community shout out on the radio, just reach out, send me a little bio. And you'd be surprised how hard it is to help. And that's kind of what I want to focus my little segment on. It's hard to help. People don't always want help because help requires a little bit of work. I can be the best trainer in the world for the gym, but you still got to do the push-ups. You still got to lift. You still got to lift the weight. And you know what? Before I even get into it, because I'm about to start rolling, we're about to go to a break. So I'm going to catch y'all right when we get back. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike.
How'd you
Which is
do?
why
Are you
I
to Monique's car?
recommend
To Monique's car?
No, she got me off at your grandmother's house and then this.
Get
We good.
You took her over. Oh, we're running along.
You still alive. You better talk to the people.
I'm dashing on you. I'm going to do Duville. I'm going to help them with a rally over there with the teachers and them, about, they like everybody, they need more money. And they figure, but I'm looking forward to listening as you do your thing. I was saying a little stuff on prior to your coming.
I heard you.
Oh, okay.
I heard you. I think you was on fire.
I'm hoping some folks will. I'm hoping some of them will be mad at me. Say, you said that about me? Oh yeah, and I'm gonna invite them to come and get on the air. I'm just don't need a picture. I'm undercover. I'm undercover. How y'all doing?
They can see you over here.
All right. Oh, they can see me?
They can see if you stand next to us.
Okay. Boo. Hey, listen, how y'all? I'm going over to Duville because there's an action over there. Teachers, they're not getting paid like they should. And so, I'm going over and stand with some of the professors, and we're going to, do what we do on this radio show. We're going to bring truth, and it's a moment to see something, say something, and not only that, do something. So I did a little bit earlier. You go tell them people who I mentioned that, tell them, if you mad, go talk to him. Hey, that's scripture. We might, I want to talk with you. I got a table here. We could break bread. It'll be good. But I'm out of here because Austin got this. I appreciate it. All right, let's say thank you. And thank y'all for tuning in. If y'all had a show, I would be there. I would come in person. I'm going. All right.
Good morning. We're back. Like I was kind of leaving on, I want to touch on hard to help. Now, We do have a Jim leaving the booth right now, but hard to help. Like I was touching on, it's hard to help sometimes, and maybe you can attest to that. Sometimes it feels like you give people all the tools, all the things they need, all the information they need, and they just don't use it. They don't take it. It's like you don't even. I'm bringing you to water, and you don't want to drink, and you're telling me you're thirsty. What's going on?
What's going on?
My mom is looking at me in the booth because I think I may be the horse that don't want to drink sometimes. So I can attest to it. It takes one to know one. It takes one to know one. And sometimes I know as people we're very hard to help. Talking about the stadium, talking about other things. Activism, getting people involved. Do you know I found something out?
What did you find out?
There's two types of campaigning strategies for politicians.
I didn't know that.
There's a list of everybody who votes. So there are two types of politicians. There are politicians who go straight to people who voted. Why would I go spend my time on these other 10 houses when only one voted? I'll just go talk to the one.
That's true.
Right? And these are the successful politicians. I don't want to put names out there because this is some insider information, y'all. I'm just letting y'all know.
I knew that though. Your grandmother told me that.
There's some people who just go straight. There's other people who try to go to people who never voted and try to change the tide and change the way people move and create a new movement, upset the statistics and get people to the voting polls. And they struggle. Because it's like, why is it not important? I know I'm a communication coach, but this is really a question. And if you want to answer the question, you can call in at 716-837-1112. You tell me, how bad do you have to hurt to make a change?
I don't know. Why don't you
let me? I'm asking. Oh, I'm going to answer. Of course, I'm going to answer. But I'm asking. I want y'all to ponder on that. Take a 3-second silence and just ask yourself, how bad do you have to hurt to want to make a change?
That's a great question. I know for myself, it took a lot of hitting my head. I realized I had some pride stuff going on. Even when people were serving up what was better for me, I still would resist. But I think speaking from a mom to a kid who no longer has the role of momager, he fired me. No, he didn't fire me. He didn't fire me as a momager. But I think one of the hardest things of being in that role, whether it's in a parental position or as a leader trying to impact change, is to want more for people than what they actually show that they want for themselves. Because you could say you have a desire, but are you taking action steps to do something different? And that's where the constraint comes in. So for some of these politicians, even as we talk about the stadium, my question would be, I'm just asking this question. It was a Bills game yesterday, right? It was a Bills game yesterday in a venue that I did an event with on Friday. The hotel was sold out. People were coming in from out of town, all the things. I didn't see any protests on yesterday during the game on I'm not going to the game because minority contractors are not being considered. So why? Why should they care?
And that's what I'm kind of touching on. We talk about voting. They're not gonna move until the 1 out of 10 gets involved because the 9 out of 10 aren't doing anything to secure my position.
They was at the game.
No disrespect. In a politician's eyes, you don't really you don't mean anything to me. You don't add value. And even though I'm supposed to serve you, you're not even allowing yourself to be accountable and not hold me accountable. And so that's what I'm asking. That's the question I'm phrasing.
How many people
bad do you have to hurt? How bad, how frustrated do you have to be? How broke do you have to feel for you to feel like fighting for the stadium is worth it?
I don't know. That's a good question. Because I know that Jim has some great questions about different contractors that are getting paid because they're in the room and they're prepared for the opportunities, whether they're minority or not. But I guess I still go back to the question. If it's something that you're so firmly against, how many people said, I'm giving up my Bills tickets because the stadium's not coming to the city? You got a call coming in.
Oh, and that's the point, right? And that's what we will quarrel on and we'll talk about and we'll talk. But again, how bad does it have to hurt? Yep. I think we have a caller. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We can hear you.
Am I on the air?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. Hello?
Yeah, Betty Jean Grant. Am I on the air?
Yes. Yep. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, thank you. Great show. And yes, the question, and I know that it was a game yesterday, and I know that there's many minority contractors who, like you said, did not get a contract, wasn't even considered, and there was no protest. So my point is that what you said is absolutely correct. And those who are in charge of making decisions supposed to be in charge of giving contracts. No. That we yell and scream one day and we forget about it. And there's no concerted, organized, unified effort within this community, the minority community that's been deprived and denied time and time again to us. They should have been, absolutely. We should have shown the world what the Bill's organization and those who we like to choose sort of think about the minority community and getting the fair share of contracts that has been legally afforded to the minority community. There is a county law that states that 30% must be involved. But here we have one legislator, April Bassett, fighting a war by herself, trying to do that. She needs support. She needs those who know to organize. She needs the young. And I'm putting my bet on the youth because I know I work with old folks and grown people all my life, and we're here today because we never had unity and organized protest meeting in the last decade. So I'm asking the community, if you want something, if you want contracts from that multi-million dollars, probably $2 billion more, build contracts, then let it be known now before that deal is built. Once the contract is signed, they can't ignore the African community. They can't ignore us.
Absolutely.
So I said, keep on fighting, and I see you. I did have to tune in, even who's hosting the show. But I see you as the leader that we need to bring these issues forward, to organize the young people, because mistakes given up on those of us my age and younger who is going to take the ball and run with it.
You know what?
Be an injustice. Don't sit down. Be like the people that South were in the 1960s. Fight, organize, never give up, and never settle, and never compromise.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You have a great day as well. That's a lot of responsibility for me to be the leader of the youth. We have another caller, but I'm just going to answer real quick to what you were saying. I think that's true. We need to organize. And I would ask, again, I'm asking. I don't want to come in and feel like I'm the boss that just comes in and I'm the boss that comes in and starts making changes, telling you what to do. No, I'm asking community, what do we need to organize? If
you putting it on you, though, I think that y'all need to guilt y'all parents, because I don't think y'all got bills, season tickets money. Maybe I do, but some of those parents, I think that sometimes through the children, guilting your parents to say, like, how do you go here when this is what is blatantly against you? So, I mean, I think as a young person, now that some stuff's been thrown your way, I don't have season tickets. I don't even watch sports. But I'm just saying, for those who do, how many of y'all were really mad yesterday, or were y'all just rah-rah tailgating and at the game?
Or just look at how it can impact your lives. The last point I had in my little notebook is, why does it matter? I think that, again, like I said a couple weeks ago, if you're not a contractor, a Bills fan, or really in the know, or a politician, it could seem like this isn't important. Well, then don't go join up and group up and protest. Don't protest. But can we talk about it? Can we just be aware that every time you complain about something, this is why you are contributing to the problem? If you don't want to solve it, it's okay. You can be okay in the hurt. You can be okay there. But if that's the case, you just be aware. Let's have the conversation. Let's stop acting like we're not, like the problems aren't in front of our faces. I know we have another caller. I'm going to chill out. Caller, you are on the air.
Hi, you guys, something that is extremely important to the future of our community, and young people, you do need to be the ones talking about it. But I just want to say that, parents out here trying hard to raise the kids. They're busy. They got to get the kids up to go to school, wash them up, feed them, take them to school, work. 70% single households got to work and be daddy too, and they're just busy. There used to be an idea that said the talented can. But the people who went to college, got the master's degrees, making the money, were the leaders. We form the ideas and stand out there, and we are supposed to take the responsibility to lead, not move out to the suburbs and ignore the majority of Black folk who sit in the city of Buffalo. So the talented tenth is supposed to lead, and you can't get mad at the parents when they need all the help they can get. But the only thing that I've ever seen that ever made a change in the community, I went to South Africa. Those people, that revolution against apartheid, took off because they killed a school child. When the school children organized a nonviolent march, and the African government killed a child. That's what parents fight for. That's when the community. That's when they make a change, because they fight for their children. You, the young people, you're our most value possession. You're our future. That's when the parents will stand up, unite, and they need to put it into terms. We pay taxes. Everybody pays taxes. Don't ask me to pay taxes if I can't get a share of the government contracts. $400 million is supposed to be going to our community. But you're right. Jim Anderson hit it right on the head. Knowledge is power. Nobody's talking about how do you get in, what kind of servants and goods are needed. Nobody's giving the information, opening the door, and holding the hands of our contractors who are hungry and starving, and we need them to employ our youth. That's our community. Putting that door, you have to fight that door down. So young people, you got to stand up and protest. Leaders, like we're calling out the politicians, but everybody who got a dime and got a good job and a good education off the backs of this black community, they're supposed to be helping. We stand on the shoulders of the other generation. I know I've been pushing for minority contracts constantly. I spent 37 years in county government, and I helped form the EFO office. I also fought to make a committee in the county exec's office so the orders go down to the commissioners and say, you will. If there's a job, people got to be interviewed, one better be a minority. If there's a contract, you better put it on the internet, Facebook, and everywhere so everybody knows about it. I'm the ones who mandated that they advertise in the Challenger and Criterion in county government, city government, and in the Buffalo Public School Boards. We all have to take this fight. April can't fight this battle alone. I'm going to do everything I can do to help her, because we need to have businesses so we can hire our own, so we can contribute to our own politicians. It's all about, this is a communist, a capitalist country, and you got to be about the business. And I'm going to get off this. I said enough.
I do appreciate the call. And one thing I want to touch on that you said, and this is the specific, right? You said that we fight when our children are harmed. Do they have to die in front of you? Because we're dying. Oh, we're dying. We're dying right now. The school to prison pipeline is real, right? Oh, now it's getting a little quiet. Yeah, the school to prison pipeline is real, right? Opportunities aren't there for real, right? Kids, young people that don't have, I understand we have a call, young people that have the energy is not going towards good, because we don't even know what good is. It's going towards evil. There are black boys and black girls dying in the street right now through a lack of opportunity, a lack of education. We're dying right now. What are we waiting anymore for? We don't gotta wait for us. We don't gotta die in front of you. Metaphorically, the black boy, the black girl in America is dying right now. The light, the black excellence that we exalt, the fist that we raise up. What does that stand for you? When we have grades where people can't, we're having some schools with at less than 50% passing rate, or am I talking crazy? You see, I don't even know the data, and I'm making assumptions that are that bold. 50%, more than 50% failing rate, and I don't even feel wrong guessing that. The black boy, the black girl in America right now is dying. You don't need to see someone shot, executed in front of you for you to know that we are dying, we are suffering, we are struggling. And yes, it's our job to pick up the mantle, but it's not the youth. It's not that it's all of us, because it affects all of us. And the same opportunities that when we can put on, it's different when you have a black doctor, it's different with a black mechanic, it's different with a black contractor. But in order to get that for your reality, in order to have a black doctor, a black contractor, we need opportunities. And whether it's the Bill Stadium, or whether it's a school and education, whether it's exposure, whatever it is, the black boy and the black girl is dying right now. And we want to make a change, and we need to unite the youth front and the adult front, because the same zeal we have, we need direction. Older generations have made changes. But civil rights wasn't easy. It wasn't given to us. I know we got a caller. I'm sorry, caller. I just got to finish this piece real quick. I know civil rights wasn't easy. We did that. Show us how we did that and how we can apply it today, and that's how we make the change. I'm sorry, caller. You are on the air. We can hear. Good morning.
How is everybody?
We're doing well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I wanted to call and talk about the first thing about climate change.
Absolutely.
There was a story, what's that, a series like the Twilight Zone. And if you look at the tapes, I used to love to watch it and stuff like that. As I got older, I understand it more. Everything it shows nuclear war and stuff like that. Armies and soldiers out there with guns, food rationing, people killing each other. It is so true. The writer who did that, Ron Serling, back in the 50s, he had a very, very deep insight what was going on. And if anyone look at the old Twilight Zone, you can see it going on right now. And they figure, why should I really, care about the earth? They is not really paying that no attention, but it is so true. Number one. Number two, the Buffalo Bills Stadium and stuff like that. If the black people get out there and boycott, it's only like enough to sell one singer. White people have the majority of the bucket. White people are the majority to go to the Buffalo Bills game. So if we get out there and protest and stuff like that, out there it's really not going to do, any good. What we should really do and stuff like that, the person that is in charge, we all should get together and protest the main person up at the top. And it's like, really, really do something. Then the last one I want to talk about, black excellence and this and that. We never look at our past to see where we came from. If we look at our past to see where we came from and stuff, it could really turn us around. I went back far as 1820 with my family history. A lot of these young people don't know. It was a federal law. We wasn't allowed to read or write. If we could read and write, they would cut our tongue out. We didn't know that. They walk around with the baggy pants like that's all cool. No, back during slavery times and stuff, you wasn't allowed to wear a belt for slaves anyway. Try running from your master with your pants baggy down. It's not going to work that way. And that's just all I want to talk about. And I really enjoy your program every week. It's excellent. That's all I want to say. And I want everyone to have a blessed week. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You have a blessed day as well. On the climate part and about just the earth in general, I'm gonna let you reply. I want you to talk a little bit about food, right? We talk about the climate and the earth's health. Talk even about food. I think that it's bigger than just the climate. The world we live on, I'm sorry to say, I don't know when we're getting. I don't know if we're getting to Mars. I don't know if we're getting to the moon. So let's just look at what we're on right now. Right. The earth we're on right now, and it's so fun. It's so easy to fanaticize climate change. Oh, it's those extremists, those people who are just talking extreme. But what it is, a lot of times, is people who just see the future. Maybe you're not worried about how the earth is going to look in 100 years. I am.
You don't have to look 100 years.
I am, but you don't got to look 100 years.
I feel we're almost to the close of the program today, and I just want to say that often we are playing checkers and there are people playing chess. And what I mean by that right now is that we're looking at what we see and we're not looking at the systemic or things that are happening beyond what our visuals can see right now. So like this Bill Stadium thing, this was being talked about probably years ago, and there was a plan that happened, and there was research and studies that happened because they say behaviors won't change. As when it comes to the food and the climate, that's a whole big thing that I would say, please do your research. Where you're getting your food from. Are you really checking the sources? You don't even know if we're putting good stuff into our bodies, especially if we're not farm to table communities. We're going to stores trusting that they're giving us the best thing. Now, they're giving us the best thing that they can give us at a price that we'll pay it. That's a tangent. But when it comes to movement, even though we might not be a huge population of ticket holders, a movement takes place when you have a person doing something that's peculiar, and then people they start connecting to that. So even if there were 10 people, just like we saw yesterday in Williamsville, there were 2 people standing on Main Street in Williamsville holding a sign against abortion. But it got my attention. It got my attention to start having a conversation. So yeah, we might not have the masses, but if every game there was here in Buffalo, there was a group of people actually protesting, there might be people who are white, black, Latina, anything that just are not aware of what we're complaining or frustrated about. But if you have a group of 10 people with some bright colors that are consistently there, that is going to get some attention for at least a conversation, which then we can understand bigger than what we might be talking about. And that's why I'm using that framework of we're playing checkers and other people are playing chess, because they know more, they have different perspectives, they understand a bigger scope than what we see on the surface. The evidence is not really what's really there. It takes a whole lot of time for that to be strong. And if we don't understand the root, the systematic things that are connected to it, we can't be prepared. And we keep having conversations and people can't even hear us, because there's this analogy with this great book called Turkeys and Eagles. And so you got the eagles up there having conversations because they can see the whole big plan. And we're turkeys here that can't fly, just talking and complaining about things that they're not even considering. But if we started to hold stuff up to get their attention or to block their view as eagles, they're going to pay attention. At least it's a distraction. So I want to encourage us, if our numbers are small, it's okay, because we can be strong and mighty, and small and mighty, by at least sparking up, getting some attention. So at that point, I just want to turn it back over to you, Austin, because we're wrapping up the program for today. Absolutely. I think there's some closing things that you want to talk about in Jim's absence. And thank you, Sheila, for always having us on this station to have a voice. But go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, we don't, I think we got to really reflect on what we talk about. What is the goal of a protest? If you think the goal of a protest is for national attention, I don't think you're probably not going to have the most fun time at a protest. But the goal of the protest is just to spark a conversation. And that's what I'm saying. If you take from what we're talking about the stadium and you say, I'm not a Bills fan, a contractor, I don't live in Orchard Park, this has nothing to do with me. Let's start having those conversations. Hey, are we aware of what's going on behind the scenes? Every time you look at a sports franchise, think about it. Really, where are the powers at play? When you look at politicians, what are the powers at play? Let's just talk about it. Let's just be aware. Let's not blind ourselves. That's all I think is the first step. Let's just start these conversations, because like you said, if it just takes a sign to start a conversation, that may be all we can do. But the more we talk about it, the more it starts to stay and play in the forefront of our minds, and the more aware we are of it, the more willing we are to make a change. Because if it's not close to our heart space or our mind space, we're just kind of yapping.
And if it's not disruptive, so like I'm more apt to give you information if you come to me with curiosity versus accusation. So if you come at me and say, this is what's not happening, I might not want to talk to you. But if you say, I'm just wondering, it looks like we got the players that are majority one race, and then the owners are another race, and then the contractors look another race. I'm just trying to understand. Can you help me understand? Then we might be brought into conversations differently because we're curious, and then we can get prepared for what lies ahead. Or there might be some opportunities even right now that we're not late for, but we don't even know it because we don't even know what we don't know to even ask the right questions to prepare.
Right. And so in wrapping up, I want to say, touching on what Jim talked about, October 5th, there will be a hearing talking about the Bills Stadium. Ooh, don't put me on the spot.
I know, because when he was saying it earlier, I was like, where is it? So if somebody could tag in the comments where it is. We're going to
go back and we're going to get the information. But if you really want to be there, you'll find it out. I'm confident you'll find it out. But it's on October 5th, talking about the Bills Stadium. We'll be having April Baskin in the studio, hopefully on the 8th, to talk more about that. I have a question I asked for next week, because this is what I'm curious about, and this is what I want to leave the viewers with. This is what happened when Jim lead the station. I start asking stuff. Here's what I want to ask the viewers. You tell me, what do the Black people need to get organized? You tell me.
Ooh, that's a good
question. Is it that we can't communicate? Is it that we don't have the transportation? Is it that we don't have the know-how? We don't have the time? What is it? You call in next week and you tell me. I'll stop the interview and get you 3 minutes. You call and, well, I promise that. But if you got an answer, you call and tell me. And if you can't get on the call, you can reach out to me. I might 716-250-8787. You can reach out to me and tell me. Let me know what we need to get organized. Because like you said, if the young people are to lead, let me know how to lead. Because I got the zeal, but you had the knowledge. So you let me know what it takes to make a change, and we'll start working on this stadium. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Be sure in the future to call in again at 716-837-1112. We hope to see you guys next week. Thanks again, and have a good one. Bye. A conversation with Jim Anderson, Monday morning at 10 a.m.